The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Greetings and welcome to another episode of Bermuda's Feel Good Early Morning Show, Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pizza House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert, and we are ready to bring you some feel good vibes this morning. Our feel good topic of the day is the importance of your little ones helping out in the kitchen, and we will be bringing in Dakia O'Brien of the Picky Little Eaters Club into the studio for that discussion. Our feel good vibe is entitled No Splash Diver, so you want to make sure you stay around and stick tuned to watching the show so that you can see who that person is and what the dive actually looks like. But before we get into all of that, let's see who is tuned in with us this morning as we get ready for our feel good warm up of the day. I see that we have Sean Smith. Good morning to you, Sean Smith. And Jackie, we have a second time viewer. Yesterday was her first time viewing, and today we have Kathy Rogers back in with us this morning. Good morning to you both. Jack, let's kick off with the feel good warm up. Since we're talking with Dakia about being in the kitchen, I figured it's only right that we talk about cooking. So
I agree.
The very first thing that we want to know from the audience is, when did you start cooking? If you remember the exact year, shout out to you. But you can just share your age and tell us what that experience was like. Don't tell us the meal yet. Just tell us when you started cooking and what that experience was like for you. Did you do it with your parents? Were you doing it all by yourself? Let us know in the comments when you first started cooking. Jackie and I are going to get started with that, answering that question for you all. So Jack, when did you first start cooking?
Okay, so the first memory
This looks like this has a story. This looks like it has a story.
Yeah, because I almost burnt the house down. So I was like probably 12, and I always loved like fried shrimp and some fries. So I was hanging out with my sister in the TV room, and I was just like, "Are you hungry?" She's like, "Yeah." So I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna make us lunch." So I go and I, heat up the grease, throw the stuff in, it's frying, everything, bang. All excited, do up our plates, everything, take it back. And we're sitting there and I'm eating and we're watching the movie and we go, ha, ha, ha. And we look back to the kitchen and it's just smoke. So I go bolting in, running in. I turn off the grease. Crystal comes running. My sister comes running in behind me. She snatches it. She puts the top on it. She takes it outside and she, throws sand all over it. And I'm just like, the glass for the window cracked. I'm like, Dad's gonna kill us. Oh, and she was just like, he's gonna kill you.
No, sis. But you did that.
I was like, oh, I'm never cooking again. But that's one of the Bermudians' favorite things to say. Never going to do that again.
That is hilarious. Well, I'm glad you guys made it out safely. Good morning to you, Anika Deshios, as well as Evelyn. Pip blessings to you as well. Thank you both for joining us. If you're just joining us, Jackie and I are talking about the first time we started cooking. Let us know the experience and the age, if you remember. I do see some comments coming in. This one from Jamal. We're going to call him for that. He says, started cooking. I have a wife, not my department. See, we're gonna have a whole conversation around this, Jamal. You may have just given us another topic to talk about.
So what? You just ate cup of noodles up until you got married?
He must have. Jamal, let us know what food you ate up until the end, though, because if you have not started cooking, what were you doing? Takeout all this time? Like, Questions that we need to know the answers to. We have a comment from Anika Deshio. She says she started around 6, started baking with her mom, but by 8 she could bake chicken, prep potatoes for potato salad. Shout out to you, because that was not my experience. We have another comment from Jody Virgil Jack.
Morning all. I started cooking around maybe 10 or 11. Always felt proud to help.
That's awesome. I know. So I'll share my experience real quick. I actually did not start cooking until I was like overseas. Like actually cooking a real meal. Like I could do like cereal, but that's not cooking. I could do spaghetti.
Like oatmeal cereal?
No. Oatmeal is gross. Like this, you have to have the right level of cereal and milk combination. That type of cooking.
What do you pour first, the cereal or the milk?
The cereal.
Okay, just making sure.
Whoever pours the milk first is really. I have questions for you. I have real questions for you. Good morning to Dakia O'Brien, who is joining us this morning, as well as Carmen Mitchell. We're going to get to some more responses around when people first started cooking. So Sean Smith says he believes he was 11 and it was a hamburger for lunch. Okay, that's actually I would say a difficult thing to cook, as well as what Jack was talking about, the whole using grease. I feel like using grease as a child is definitely that's scary, because you gotta like make sure you get it right. The grease pops out, it might pop on you, you freak out and then never want to cook again. So I think y'all were really advanced for your first meals. I try to keep it real simple, spaghetti. Just make sure you don't boil the pan. Don't boil the pan. And then we have a comment from Jamal. He said, oops, hopefully she's still sleeping. There is always the replay, Jamal. There is always the replay. And then Jody, we are going to send the link. Jody Virgil says, helping in the kitchen started about 6. See, I never really helped in the kitchen. Did you help in the kitchen? Like, helping prepare stuff? I never. My mom didn't like me in the kitchen, to be honest. She said I got in the way.
Yeah. Well, my granny was cool with that. I was usually busy outside playing. But if my dad was cooking, then I was in the kitchen. He had a little bit, my mom had patience, but she just moved too fast. And I'm like, my dad, he was the maitre d' at the Reefs. Okay. So he had a lot of patience, and he wanted to teach me. So he was like, all right. So he used to teach us how to do scallops and lobster tails and stuff.
So you were cooking like meals. Like, yeah, my mom, I mean,
eggs,
when you're like a toddler, they let you help out and they're just like, okay, yeah, this is cute. But then you get to a certain age where they're like, I feel like you should be doing this faster, but because you're not, just move. That's how my mom was. She was like, okay, that's nice, but no thanks.
Yeah.
We have that comment from Jamal. He says, Nikki, said, without her, I'd be eating popcorn. But seriously, I love to prepare poultry, but I only started cooking for myself when I went to college. Okay, so I'm not the only one that was like in college when they first started. He loved making fried rice, making jerk chicken and fish. I've never made fried rice before. I don't know. I'm trying to think if I would try it now, and I'm like, I probably wouldn't, because most fried rice has egg in it, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna.
You don't have to do it if you make it for yourself. You can make it without egg, and even if you request it at the restaurant, you can request it without egg as well.
I definitely do.
Most places ask.
Some places, well, I haven't seen some places ask me, but I make a point to tell them, like, no eggs, no thank you. And then Anika DeShields agrees with me. That was very fancy food that you were making at that age. But shout out to Mr. Lambert, Mr. David, Uncle David. We're going to give him all the names for get Jackie on those fancy foods. That must be why when she goes out to eat, she probably gets like the most fanciest thing on the meal. She's like, I want to see how they make lobster tails.
I don't. Yeah. So when we were younger, we used to go to our favorite restaurant, and I used to have my escargot, my anything. Right. I used to just pick whatever, and if I didn't like it, my dad would eat it. So it's disposal. I'm like, Dad, this didn't work out. Here you go.
It did not work out as planned. So we have a comment from Jamal. He says, yeah, I don't do egg. I think, yeah, because Jamal, I know he doesn't do dairy, and most people don't consider egg to be dairy, but it is actually dairy. So if you didn't know that, folks, if you're saying that you don't eat dairy, just FYI, egg is in that category. So you might not be dairy free.
Is the only kind of dairy I eat. Right. Not often, though. And
then we have this comment from Evelyn Pitjack.
I started cooking at the age of 16 when I had my first child. What was the first meal?
Oh, sorry, 17. That's okay. She actually put it in, and I was trying to click away from the comment, and then it just popped up. I was like, "Ooh, look at that!" She
Perfect timing.
Perfect timing. We're gonna take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back with Dakia O'Brien of the Picky Little Eaters Club. So make sure you stay tuned.
Same smooth sounds, different name. BCG Radio, home of Bermuda's most engaging morning talk shows, The Daily Hour and Good Day Bermuda. Download the app, available for Android and Apple devices. BCG Radio, your station for conversations and entertainment.
Welcome back to Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pizza House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert. We are going to get into our feel-good topic of the day. We have Dakia O'Brien, who is the owner of the Picky Little Eaters Club. She has over 10 years of culinary experience, and she is the perfect person to help you encourage your little ones, or maybe even yourself, to get started with cooking. So we're going to bring Dakia into the conversation right now. Good morning, Dakia, and welcome to Good Day Bermuda.
Morning, Jackie and Terri.
Morning.
We are doing well. We actually want to ask you the question that we asked the audience. When did you first start cooking, and what was your experience like?
Cooking for me started more so around my grandparents and also my dad. My dad was the cook in the house. My mom was she did what she had to do to survive. But more so my dad, as he actually went to culinary school, much like me, and was also a maitre d' at some of the hotel restaurants like yacht clubs and all of that. So that was my first real experience with it, but actually getting into it and doing it, Terri, is the same not until I went away to school, until I actually had to fend for myself.
Exactly. Like, it was the fending for myself part. It was like, up until then, I could survive. I got some sustenance, but then when I was like 18, 20 by myself, living on my own, it's like, okay, well, no one else is going to cook this food, so I guess I have to do it now.
Exactly. And then, you're young, you got all this money, and takeout is just the thing. You're lazy, you don't want to wash dishes. So, yeah.
Exactly. So, Dakia, tell us a little bit more about the Picky Little Eaters Club. How did the concept come to be? And, why do you encourage parents to get their kids to sign up?
The Picky Little Eaters Club came into play last year. Well, it was actually an idea that I've had for about 2 or 3 years going on now. But, with certain things, you just want them to be executed a certain way, and you sort of overthink it. So that's what I was doing, just sitting with this idea about a kids cooking show. So with COVID, it had its ups and it had its downs. But one thing that it did do good for me was that I decided, okay, we're going to work with what we have, and we're just going to do it. So we started to do the cooking shows with different kids. They'll just submit their favorite recipe and they'll demonstrate. And I wanted the show to just be organic. I didn't really want too much parent participation unless it came to things like stoves and things that they couldn't handle, because we just wanted to see the true personality of a child, and you can never go wrong with that. Fast forward to when things started to open and not open, it's still been an obstacle to fully execute the way I want. But in the meantime, we've been just trying to put out our cooking kits. We did a show here and there. We're not too consistent on it yet. I'm trying to be like, you guys got to sponsor or something. But yeah, that's what we're doing. And my approach is different. I obviously believe in nutrition and all of those things, but my approach is more so teaching skills. So teaching children about certain skills when it comes to the kitchen. And as we all know, that cooking embodies a lot of lessons. It's math lessons, it's motor skills, it's life skills. There's so much that you can learn from cooking if you just know how to recognize it.
Absolutely.
So why the name Picky Little Eaters Club?
Listen, I'm a shower thinker. So I feel like when I overthink things, it's gonna totally be a longer process than it needs to be. So I was just in the shower, and that's what came to mind, and that's what we went with. But I have to defend it sometimes because it's not meant to be negative towards our babies. It's a very common term, and it hasn't been. Picky eating is not an actual diagnosis. It's more like
selective.
Yeah, it's just the terminology that we use, but it's not meant to be negative or, or mean. It's just the terminology that we use. And if you think about it, all of us have a little bit of picky eating in us. No one is better or less better than the other. I think it most times comes down to a lack of education. However, there are children that suffer from extreme picky eating, and then that's when you're recommended to go and see a doctor or get, professional help for it.
That's interesting, because I actually would have considered myself a picky little eater when I was younger, only because like there's certain food textures I don't like. And so some people would say, oh, you're a picky little eater, or like you're picky. Why you like that? Just eat the food. It's food. So, but then I didn't actually realize that there are extreme cases where people or kids don't eat. I guess they're not getting the proper nutrition if they suffer from that.
Yeah, I think that's the parents' biggest fear when the children don't eat certain things is, are they getting the proper nutrition? Are they getting their, proper supplements for the day? But I think the biggest thing about it is, and why one of the number one reasons why involving children in cooking is so important, is because once they feel involved in a process and they see the outcome and they feel proud of what they've done, they're more apt to eat it and to try new things when we take the time out to educate them. And the other thing that's very important is things have grown so much in culinary that we have the power to transform certain things. I always use this example, like Brussels sprouts. Like my mama wouldn't have known the first thing about how to make a Brussels sprout good for me. I'm sorry if you're watching, I'm not dissing you, mama. It's literally different ways that, Brussels sprouts have taken on a whole new life now. Mm-hmm. And if we put them forward in a fun way, then a child might just be like, let me at least try it. And that's where we start. In my childhood, I don't like so many things. Ask me why. Probably never
tried it. Yep.
Never tried it. And there's no way you're going to get me at 30-something years old to try peas. I've already made up my mind that we're not doing it. Right? So it all just comes from education, and then it's facts that you have to slowly introduce things to children by putting it in their face. Exposure, meaning not just them eating it, but seeing it and saying, okay, this is a piece. So now it's starting to register to them. So when they do have the opportunity to try it, they're not afraid of it.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm sitting here. I was just like, "Ooh, that's a question. Ooh, that's a question." But then I started to think about when my niece was younger, and she was one of those kids that would chop and change. Like today, she loved chopped egg sandwich, and tomorrow she's just like, "Ooh, why are you giving me this? This is absolutely disgusting." And then she hated vegetables, so I used to disguise her cauliflower. The way I used to give her vegetables, cauliflower is the same color and some similar texture as rice. So I used to crumble it up and put it in the rice to get into her diet.
And she noticed, did she?
She had no clue.
Exactly.
So I'm just sitting here thinking about the different ways I used to help my sister get my niece. And, I was her favorite at the time. I'm claiming it.
My sister would tell you, I can get my nephew to do things that she cannot. So I think it's
it is. Yeah, but Dakia, what are some of the recipes that our youngsters come to you with?
So I let them do whatever they want. Like I said, nutrition is important, but I am not your health coach. So I know a few things where, obviously from my background in culinary, where I would encourage certain things, but like I said, this is about the children. So normally you'll probably see me and my daughter Rial. Morning, Ree, if you're watching. I let her, Ree, what do you feel like making today? And I let her do what she wants to do. Last year we had a young lady do chocolate cake. We had someone do apple tarts. I think Rial did mozzarella sticks. This year we've had Kamba. Kamba has done fettuccine Alfredo, I believe. Taylor did no crust pizza. So it's basically what they feel comfortable doing. And kids just, you ever seen that show, Kids Say the Darndest Things? It's really that. It's like, if you give a kid that much space where they feel comfortable, it's going to be a time, and I love to see it. So yeah, we just give them the stage to do what it is that they feel comfortable with.
That's awesome. We actually have some comments coming in that I want to bring into the conversation because I think they're going to be relevant to what we've been talking about. So first up, we have Jamal. He says, apparently my wife thinks I'm a picky eater as I don't eat a lot of things. And he didn't even consider that it could be detrimental as a child. And I think a lot of us didn't, right? You just was like, nah, I don't want to eat that. Just leave me alone. That's not the thing. And then let's talk about these Brussels sprouts. Apparently, Evelyn Pitt is not a fan of Brussels sprouts.
I have to make her some.
I love Brussels sprouts. Like, it's the first thing I look for.
Michael Anthony Mustard says there's nothing you could cover Brussels sprouts with that would get me to eat them. So I feel like that's a challenge today, Kia, to figure out the best way to get Brussels sprouts.
I think I may have to drop a recipe for Brussels sprouts.
That's going to be the thing.
I feel like some fried Brussels sprouts would be wow.
Little bit of balsamic. And who doesn't
Yes.
like bacon? Well, there are people that don't like bacon, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's other options.
We have now given y'all a recipe for Brussels sprouts, and we're going to see how this turns out.
So, Dakia, I want to get back to these kits. One, how does that work? And on top of that, what age do you start with this, with the kids?
With the kids. So the age group that we aim for is about 5 to 12. However, if you have a young one that is interested or whatnot, then with adult supervision, definitely work beside them, because teamwork and also the collaboration is good for many things. Spending time with your child, also building trust in their kitchen, whatnot. So we have our kids, and Terri can definitely attest to the journey it's been, and we're still trying to figure it out. I'm still trying to figure it out. But yeah, so we do these kits every month. We pick a theme. And like I said, my product is more based on skill. So every time we drop a kit, it's going to be based on an individual skill. So this month for July, the skill that we're working on is peeling. So with anything where you're using your hands as a child, you're developing motor skills, which is helping your hands to be able to hold a certain thing and, control. Right. So we're teaching them how to use a peeler. So in the kit, you will get, so it comes like this. I have one. What you do is you'll get a custom apron. If it's your first time ordering, you'll get a custom apron and have it with your child's name. You'll get a recipe. You have a choice between a cooking kit or a baking kit. So this month's cooking kit is potato salad and Caribbean breeze chicken. So if you follow me from Wellbeing Wednesday, Caribbean breeze was one of my most popular sauces, but I had to turn it down for the kids. It's just right. So with potato salad, the objective is obviously to get them used to peeling the potatoes. So I know there are certain kits out here where children are making like merge masala and things like that, but I want them to be able to learn something while doing these kits. So then in there, I also give them a cool tool, and I'm just going to say shout out to DHL. I don't know where my peelers are, but I hope you can figure that out. But I always find something it's a peeler. Everyone has a peeler in their house, right? So I try to give something that's unique, something different that you wouldn't find in your mom's cabinet. And I give them history of the peeler, its uses, and different things like that. So it's a very informative kit. And these are things that they can keep. So when they get older, they can look back, and it's interesting stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah, the kits are only $60. Like I said, you have a choice between. Oh, and the other cool part about it is that myself and Rial, what should we call her today?
Your sous chef.
My sous chef, yes, when she feels like it. We record a video of us demonstrating the recipe, and we upload it. We give you the link to it so that you can watch it. You and your child can watch it on your own time and follow along. So I think that's another cool part about it. And yeah, so we do them every month. We just closed out for July. Because like I said, I'm waiting for my peelers. So might have to push that to next week. So if there's anyone that wants to get a kit ASAP for July, hit me up ASAP. The website is www.thepickylittleeatersclub.com/shop. I don't know if I could type that somewhere, or maybe my sister could help me out and put it in the comments.
Absolutely. We'll actually make sure that we share that information as well in the comments and when we post it on social media. So I actually wanted to bring in this audience question for you, Dakia, because this person, Sean Smith, wants to know, do you have any tricks to convince a 17-year-old to try new things? Because when you're younger, you're a little bit more open. Mm-hmm. You're a sponge, right? So you're like, okay, I'll try it. If your mommy says do it, daddy says do it. All right, I want to be like mommy and daddy. But you're 17, you're like, no thanks. So do you have any tips for, encouraging those older kids to try new things?
Like I said, this is why it's important to try to get them in when they're young. As Terri said, they're easier to mold at that age. I feel like at 17, you're stuck in your ways. And if you're 17-year-old, it's the one is literally gonna have to come from them. I'm not gonna say that I haven't tried different things. I think what really opened my eyes was when I went to culinary school. But for a 17-year-old, maybe more education. But they have to literally be want to learn. But that's a tricky one for a teenager. Yeah. I don't really know what to say about that one.
I know for me, I can say from my personal experience, like, when you get into college, it's like, okay, do you want to survive or nah? And then it's like, well, why, like trying to figure out why you don't want to try it, why you're not eating certain foods. Like, what is it about that food? Because I think for me, like Dakia mentioned it earlier, it's like, I never had it. Like someone asked me, do you like Brussels sprouts? Nah, I don't like that. Why not? Oh, I never had it.
Exactly.
So you don't know.
Right. So you don't even know if you like it or not. So maybe, speaking to your son to ask him, what is it about foods that you haven't tried that you don't like? And then just buying it yourself. Like, I think we also talked about, like, kids will mimic what their parents do. So if you try to eat something new that, your son hasn't tried before or your daughter hasn't tried before, then you could, like, try it out and say, okay, well, take a little bite. But then don't be
always want to eat off your plate.
But don't be like, oh, this is gross. Like, you gotta stick to the wicked. So
they definitely watch and mirror every single thing that you do. And another important thing is, when we were growing up, in most households, you didn't really have an option. It was either eat this or go to bed or starve. You know what I mean? And I understand, because I grew up with ill skilled parents as well. But children, they're like little powerhouses. Like, they want to be in charge. And when they feel like you're creating a power struggle, they're going to want to go to war with you. Like, they're standing their ground. So you have to make dinner time a place of peace where they're not feeling like they're coming to fight with their parent. So make it a comfortable environment. And if they don't want something, I know my ill-skilled parents are going to tell me I'm crazy, but don't fight with them. Give them small portions, work with it a little bit at a time. Most of the times we want our children to eat something, and because everyone's busy. We're not cooking 4 or 5 meals just to satisfy a toddler's needs, but don't give them a lot, just small portions. My child is 8 and I still give Rial tiny portions. And I tell her, when you finish that, you could have more, because just throwing it all on the plate is already overwhelming for them. You know what I mean? So just let them little bit by little bit, and they'll slowly get there.
So that's the trick, Sean. Give your 17-year-old baby portions. Just kidding. But try.
Just tie him to a chair. Just
give him small portions and see what he likes.
I say disguise it on your pizza. Kids love pizza.
You do that too.
Slip it in there between the cheese.
There's so many tricks you can do, and they wouldn't even know. Like, sometimes I make Rial meatballs, and I will just like, what's the word with the blender? Well, I'll shred up kale and mix it in there. And she don't know. It's a meatball, right? Yep. You know how that TikTok thing, how would they know?
Yes, they're not going to know. Yeah. So, Dakia, do you have any cooking classes for like couples cooking classes or just adult cooking classes?
I do. I have this coming out. Obviously, the biggest thing right now is with a lot of places and COVID regulations. The biggest obstacle I'm facing right now is a lot of facilities aren't renting out right now because of COVID. And we could do Zoom classes. I'm considering that as well, where everyone's in the comfort of their own home and getting used to their own kitchen. But it's definitely something that we're working towards.
That is awesome. So I want to give thanks to Dakia for joining Jackie and I this morning. I not only learned a lot. So full disclosure and transparency, Dakia is one of my former clients. And so that's why I know pretty much everything about her structure from start to finish. So I let Jackie hold the conversation. But I think the concept is so amazing, which is why I wanted to work with her. One, but because as a picky little eater or former picky little eater, I know if I was able to like learn in the kitchen with my mom and like get experience earlier and have some tools in my kitchen, because when I turned 18, 20, 19, 20, I didn't have nothing. So I had to start I had to buy everything from scratch. I didn't know what I needed, what I didn't need. I would pull up a recipe and not have the right tool. And I'm like, dang it, if only I had the Picky Little Eaters Club. So Dakia, let us.
Sorry, one more thing that you would be surprised. Like last month's kit, it was teaching the students how to make a roux, and the amount of adults that were like, that's what that is. That's how you do it. So parents, the information is good for you as well. I promise you, it's stuff that you would want to know as well. So it's a win-win situation.
Absolutely. So Dakia, before you get up out of here, can you let the audience know where they can contact you if they want to sign up, how they can learn more about it, when they purchase their kit, where do they go? Let us know all of that information.
Alrighty, so our website is www.thepickylittleeatersclub.com, and if you want to just jump straight to the boxes, it's /shop. On Instagram, we are the.picky.little.eaters.club. Sorry, that's Instagram poll. And so the kits, I normally release them. I release the information the beginning of the month, and they normally don't go out between the second or last week in that month. So we're always I'm getting there. Me and Terry's got to get back in the zone, but you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook, where updates are there about how you can purchase and different things. So yeah, that's where you can find us, myself and Rial.
Awesome, Dakia. So thank you once again for joining us this morning. We are going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back with Good Day Bermuda.
Same smooth sounds, different name. BCG Radio, home of Bermuda's most engaging morning talk shows, The Daily Hour and Good Day Bermuda. Download the app, available for Android and Apple devices. BCG Radio, your station for conversations and entertainment.
Welcome back to Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pizza House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert. Before we get into finding out your thoughts on our conversation today with Dakia, make sure you give us a care reaction if you're watching on Facebook, because that is Jackie and I's favorite. So we want to see those care reactions go up on the screen. If you're on YouTube, make sure you hit the like button. And for those tweets on Twitter, go ahead and run up the hearts for us so that we know that you are enjoying today's conversation. Before we get into our feel good vibe of the day, which in case you just joined us is a no splash diver, let us know in the comments your key takeaway from today's conversation with Dakia. We have a question here from Misha Fubler. He asks, does the kit accommodate dietary restrictions? Only because I have insider knowledge. I know that there is options for you if you are non-dairy, if you're vegan, if you don't eat meat. There are alternatives that you can do. Dakia does suggest them, or she'll talk you through it. So there are options for those that with dietary restrictions. So make sure you hit her up and let her know what your dietary restrictions are up front though. Don't wait until you get the kit or you see what's coming out that month and you're like, oh wait, my child doesn't even eat that. Because I only do I know this from my experience. There was a parent who, I think their child was plant-based and they were making a dairy heavy item. So Dakia just suggested something else for that particular student. So it is possible. So if you do have dietary restrictions, don't feel like the kits aren't for you. Dakia is well versed in the knowledge of culinary, not I, because I'd be like, wait, so I have to use cornstarch. There's nothing else I can use. I have to use this flour. There's no other flour I can use. I would just I guess I'm not making this today.
I'm just gonna spit this one out.
Absolutely. So let us know in the comments your thoughts on our conversation with Dakia. Jack, do you think you would have benefited from something like this if you were younger? And how excited would you have been to do a cooking club?
Oh, I would have been all up in it. I love cooking. I used to cooking, baking, all that stuff. So I would have been in my glory. My niece has gotten into it now because she sees me cooking all the time. When I lived with my sister, I was the one that was cooking. I'd be like, hey guys, so I kind of made a lot of food. I got bored. So go eat.
So we have a comment here from Jody Virgin. She says, love the convo. Cooking as a family can help create great memories. Young people want to get involved. I agree. I feel like it's one of the easiest ways to spend time with your family without spending time with your family. Like, because, you know, when you get to a certain age, kids are like, I don't want to be around you, parent. But if we're all cooking together, we'll all have this one goal of everyone's hungry, let's cook so we can eat. I think it's definitely one of the easier ways to keep the family together, keep y'all, you know, having a good time without feeling like it's a chore. Yeah, all work. Like, I feel like as we get older, and I mean, that's just the nature of getting older, right? You want to hang out with your friends. Your parents aren't as cool anymore. So it's like, well, some people's parents are still cool as they get older.
My poor parents, I used to squeeze right in. I'd be like,
move it
run
in
upstairs.
there.
They had a king size bed. Like, run upstairs. And I'm like, make room. And I just dive right in. What we're watching, guys. My mom would be like, really? My dad would be like, the news, Jack, watch.
You're like, did you sit there and watch the news though?
I had no choice. It was satellite. It was on every TV.
Oh, well, sorry, not sorry. Yeah. So actually I wanted to come back to a comment from, I think, Sean Smith. We were talking about what the first thing that he cooked was. And it was funny because, okay, so here it is. So Sean Smith says, mind you, so if you're just joining, Sean Smith's first meal was a burger. That's the first thing he cooked. He said, mind you, I ended up in the hospital because I almost lost my thumb that day. He still had his burger before he left for the hospital. And I feel like the priorities were off. Sean, the priorities were off.
I need more of, I think his priorities are right on track. You know, you gotta make sure you eat before you
eat before you go to the hospital. I feel like,
I don't know. Like, I feel like the medicine, they're like, you should have ate before you came because now I can't give you this.
That is true. Well, no, actually, sometimes they tell you don't eat. You're lying. No, especially when you do blood work and stuff, they say don't eat 12 hours before you do.
I'm sorry. I love food. I'm just like, I am eating. You're just going to have to make me wait. I'll stick out the pain.
Jack is saying anything. Don't do that. Don't listen to Jack. Good morning to you, Rosalind Smith. Thank you for joining us. Oh, wait. Sean Smith says he learned most of his cooking in the hotel for his own selfish reason. In the hotel? The hotel. I have questions because hotels don't really have kitchens.
Yes, they do. If you're part of the wait staff, yeah.
Oh, you right. Apologies. I take that back. You right.
Yeah, I was a waiter, but I was a waiter for like a year, and I spent most of my time in the kitchen. I'm like, what you guys cooking?
She's right in the my table. She didn't know where she was. She didn't know where she was. We have a comment from Jody Bradger, Jack.
Helps build skills like planning and prioritizing and organizing. Can sneak those skills in. LOL. Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many, like Dakia, sure, there's so many other things to cooking than just cooking. Like, it's not just
measuring, time,
math skills.
Mm-hmm. And you know how to multitask. Okay,
actually, you want to focus though when you're cooking. Don't be like Jackie and go watch the TV and then you come back and your French fries.
I meant like as you're doing the leg of lamb, you're doing everything else as well.
I just needed Jackie to clear that up because I don't want y'all to have your kids out there putting stuff on the stove and then walking away. Like, I'm multitasking, mommy.
I'd be singing. That was one time, guys. It was one time.
I want to pull up this comment from Sean Smith. Ladies love a man that cook. Yes, we do. Because I don't want to cook. That's my selfish reason. I don't want to cook. We have this comment from Sheldon Jones. He says, cooking is chemistry. That is actually true. Not even from like we're trying to debunk him, but I didn't think about how there were so many skills with cooking that I just I probably would have liked science had I started with cooking at a much younger age. But we won't go back. Yeah. I'm in my 30s now. It is what it is. We have a comment from Michael Anthony Mustin, Jack.
That doesn't surprise me that Jackie spent her time in the kitchen instead of waiting. My tables were fast and, they had their drinks. They knew that the food was in the back. And I should have said, I'm going to go check on your food. I'm coming right back, okay?
That's totally Jackie. That's totally Jackie. We do want to thank you all for watching us this morning. Before we get up out of here, we're going to get into our Feel Good Vibe of the Day, which is a video by none other than DJ iBreeze. It is entitled No Splash Diver. And I must say that this young kid has some skills.
Watch him test his diving. That was nice.
I don't know if you could do that, Jack, but I know I couldn't do that.
No, that's not, no. It's not in my arsenal. Sorry.
It's not in Jackie and I's wheelhouse, so we're gonna leave it to that yummy. So shout out to DJ iBreeze for allowing us to show you all that video. We do hope that today's feel good vibe of the day has you ready to make it a great one. No splash, or you can splash if you want to. Thank you for watching this episode of Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pizza House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert. We trust we'll see you tomorrow for another feel good conversation. Until the next episode, peace and have a good day, Bermuda.